So one of the things that we've seen so far in the Bible story is that Jesus is introduced as God with us. He's God who's come to earth to reverse these curses, to bring blessing, to fulfill promises. But one of the things that you see through the story of Jesus' life is that people start to not like him. They treat him unfairly and cruelly. Now in this story that we're looking at this evening and that you've already read, just beforehand, one of Jesus' close friends, a man called John, has been killed. And John, at the time, had been telling people to follow Jesus. So when John was killed, it was a big statement towards Jesus as well as a big statement against John. People are starting to turn against Jesus, this one who is bringing promise and blessing. So at the beginning of this story, we look at Jesus goes to be alone. It might be because he's sad, he wants to grieve his friend John. It could also be to escape some of the pressure that's been gradually building up against him. And we think, what's going to happen? What's he going to do? Will Jesus take his revenge? We think. Will he refuse to help people? And will he start to smite people who are rejecting him? Maybe that's our idea of what we think God is like. Will Jesus do this? Because if Jesus is God, how do we expect God to behave in this situation? What do we expect from God? Do they punish bad and give to the good? We think we do good things and God is happy. We do bad things and he will punish or curse you. So as Jesus withdraws to this place to be alone, this solitary place, maybe some of those questions are coming up. What will Jesus do? And what do we notice? Well, Jesus shows compassion. So when Jesus withdraws, he's been under all this pressure. He goes to be alone, and what happens? Well, all these people turn up. And Jesus has compassion on them. He shows them love. He starts to heal these people. He starts to teach people. And this is what it means. We were thinking, weren't we? What does it mean for God to be like this? Well, here is what it looks like. God shows amazing love. He's come to be the one who wants to fix broken people. Even though people are starting to reject Jesus and there's pressure building against him, here is a God who, like last week we saw, here is a God who wants to show mercy, who wants to love his enemies. He's transforming the world. He's reversing the curse. He's bringing blessing. Jesus has compassion on this crowd. And the second thing we notice is that Jesus brings satisfaction. So just at the end of the story, it says all these people ate. They had been sat down in groups and they all ate and were satisfied. And the disciples picked up 12 basketfuls of broken pieces that were left over. There are lots of times in life where we end up building up our expectations. Maybe it's a place that you've always wanted to visit, or a food that someone has said, you have to try this is the best thing you'll ever eat. And things can be amazing, they can be, but sometimes they can do that thing where they never are quite enough. I wonder if you've ever had something called buyer's remorse, where you look forward to buying a new product, a new thing, and you wait for it to arrive in the post, and then as soon as you open it, you're like, this isn't as good as I wanted it to be. This isn't everything. We do it with lots of things. Maybe it even extends to relationships, to boyfriends, girlfriends. They're not quite what we want them to be. And we look forward and we think they don't seem to be enough. They're not as perfect as we want them to be. Maybe they don't make us feel as complete as we want them to make us feel. But you know what this story is trying to show us? That Jesus is someone who can satisfy us. He can make us feel full, make you feel complete. So you look at the story, this huge crowd of people comes. Jesus has been compassionate to them. He's taught them. He's healed these people, even though he was tired and under pressure. So all these people come, and the disciples, Jesus' followers, like, you need to send these people away. They're going to get hungry. And Jesus says, oh, don't send them away. You can feed them. They have a look around. They sort of come up with 5 loaves, 2 fish. This can't feed this many people, this huge crowd. The disciples say, what you say, Jesus, is impossible. So Jesus says, look, bring this food to me. So he takes the food. He gets the people to sit in groups. The people are organised. He sort of looks up to heaven, gives thanks, starts to break this bread apart. And he gives it to the disciples and hands it out. And you know what? All these people ate and were satisfied. And they even collected 12 basketfuls of leftovers. There is more left than what they had at the beginning. And at the end of the story, we're given the numbers. There were 5,000 men there, and there were women and children as well. This is incredible. Everyone is full. Everyone is satisfied. And it was just 5 loaves and 2 fish. Every one of them. Jesus is the one who's done this. And so we can ask, what is our view of God? We were sort of thinking about that at the beginning of the story. What do you think God is like? Is it the same as we've seen in this Bible story? A God who wants to show compassion. A God who wants to satisfy us, to make us feel full and complete, like we're truly human. Or maybe you think God is a bit like a tester. He's here to test humanity. And so when Jesus comes, he sort of teaches and does some miracles as a sort of test. And if, as humans, we pass these tests, then we can go on to the afterlife. Or maybe you think that there are many gods, and these gods are supposed to be kept happy. So if you do bad things, or if the gods are unhappy, bad things will happen to you. Bad luck. So you have to keep them happy. You have to give them gifts. You make offerings to keep these people happy. You want good luck. You do good things. You give offerings to keep gods and spirits happy. Or maybe you think something slightly different. You think God is distant. He's really far away. He doesn't really care about humans. He's just separate. But what we see in this story, and what we're starting to see in this person of Jesus, is that God he's kind. He's compassionate. He cares for people. He fills people up. He satisfies them. He brings blessing. Other ways you could describe it is, what Jesus shows is that God is like a fountain who keeps giving more and more water, or he's like a river that keeps on running. So we can see that Jesus is this one who is coming to reverse these curses. He's coming to be the one who will cover shame, to bring us back to God, to bring life. So again, there's lots we've talked about this evening, but it's over to you to think about some questions together. Thanks very much.